Are we on, Tina? Are we live? Are we live? Are we on Facebook Live?
It says the meeting is being live streamed. Ah, yes, we are. Yes.
Yeah, there's a delay.
But we're here now.
Time delay. Yeah.
There's a time delay. Yeah, we're here now. So greetings, hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are.
On the big blue planet, Earth. Unless, of course, you're not.
Oh, where would they be?
Hello, Tina.
Oh, on the other side.
We are wearing matching hoodies. How about that? How ridiculous is this? Yeah, we've got our secret changes. Mine, by the way, is extra large. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Look, mine too. I mean, I don't know how big we thought these hoodies were going to come out.
I'm planning on growing into mine one day. Yeah.
I could get half a dozen people in here with me.
Well, there we go. That's something to look forward to, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, yeah, it is, yeah. So what am I bid for my extra large hoodie? There you go. We can have an auction.
Yes, don't hold your breath. How are you, Tina?
I'm good. Yeah, crazy. So many people are coming out of the woodwork that I've worked with like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, saying that they've got to see me, and they're people that I helped get rid of health fears and phobias 15 years ago, and they haven't come back, but they're saying that they can feel that they're trying to come back. And it's
trying to come back.
Yeah, and it's
trying vain not to come back as a client. Yeah.
And now they're anxious about the fact that what happens if it did come back. But the other thing that fascinates me is their health fears are nothing to do with COVID.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The health fears that they're having are around the fact that they can't get treatment because of COVID.
Well, isn't that interesting? I mean, that didn't exist, did it, years ago?
No.
It's a new thing for people to be worried about.
Yeah, so they're going, well, what if I have cancer and I can't get treatment? And what if I have this?
It's a good question to ask, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dear me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had plenty. I've had quite a few as well coming back. I don't answer my phones, to be honest. Yeah, that's how I've dealt with them. Just don't take the calls.
Yeah, well, it's more crabby.
But it's like similar. It seems to be there's a similar vibe, and we talked about this in the last Facebook Live. At the very beginning, we talked about like empathic stress out there, and all the worries and the fears and the anxieties. And I think there's also, and again, this is a huge hallucination on my part, that the social media fuels it and feeds it. There's like news streams about so many things that we wouldn't have been aware of unless we opened a newspaper or put the news on.
Well, I think it's the news fuels it, because the news is always talking about new strains and so many people in hospital. And I think it's fascinating. That's obviously my word for the evening, is fascinating. That now that they've decided that our numbers have kind of plateaued and are going down in the UK, so they're not appearing on the news. They're not saying on the news, we have so many hundreds of cases today. Now they're saying, oh, they have so many hundreds of cases in Austria and in Belgium and in Italy and in Spain. And so it's like, oh God, our cases aren't going up very high. Where else do they have cases that we can talk about?
Isn't it a good time to inoculate ourselves against other people's negativity and worries and fears and concerns? My favourite poem is the Rudyard Kipling poem. If you can keep your head while all around you are losing theirs, maybe you don't really understand what's going on. That's my version of it. And
I think
it's good not to understand.
Isn't it great? Yeah, I think it's fabulous. And in fact, I'm going to go to our first question, because I've chosen this to be our first question. It's from the wonderful Marco in Roma.
Hello, Marco.
Yeah, ciao, Marco. It's the wonderful Marco in Roma. And I think this question is fabulous. So according to Leonardo da Vinci, the first of the qualities is curiosity.
Really?
The question is, in your opinion, what is the best qualities to be used in your private and professional life?
The best qualities to be used in your private or professional life?
Yeah.
Curiosity.
Yeah. I'm going to go with curiosity. I love curiosity.
You're not going to believe what I'm going to say, but let's go with yours first.
I love curiosity. I mean, whenever I have a client, I get curious about what are they doing? And then I get excited when somebody comes up with something that I've never come across before. I get really excited whilst I'm being curious. And then I begin to plot and plan and imagine different ways I can help them and what I could do. And even in my personal life, it's curiosity. Because when my grandchildren that live with me, when they play up and they become annoying, great grandma gets very grumpy. Children shouldn't be doing things like this. And I get curious about, so what brought that on? You know, how is it that they're in that place and they're doing that? So I think curiosity is one of my favorites. And I suppose other emotions I will access as and when I think they're needed. You know, I mean, I've been known to get grumpy and cross if I think it's going to get what I want.
Never noticed that. You managed to master that one really well in the years I've known you. Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't happen very often. I remember once in one of the seminars in London, it was in the Abyss. And
Alessandra went to the Abyss Hotel, yeah.
Alessandra Mora and I were in the bar upstairs, and it was really late, and we didn't want to go out and eat. The meeting had gone on forever, and we thought, well, we'll just grab something to eat. And I thought, well, a burger's got to be safe-ish. And I was looking at people getting burgers from the bar, and it looked okay. So we both ordered burgers, and we sat down. 45 minutes later, nothing had arrived, and we went up. And they were just ignoring us. So I just got annoyed and shouted at the barman to get his attention. And then the minute I got his attention, I then switched from being annoyed to, oh, hello.
Well, yeah, it's good just before your burger arrives.
Well, yeah. Then I switched to being, oh, hello, you know, I wonder if you can help me. And I remember there was somebody who was on the practitioner course, and they said, oh, I thought you were supposed to be in control of your emotions. And I went, trust me, sweetie, I am. That's exactly the one I wanted.
Yeah, it's interesting when people get into NLP, they assume that we should be in control of all our emotions all the time. And that means eliminating certain emotions. Shouldn't be in the repertoire. There's a time and place for everything. Mike, the quality that springs to mind for me, and you're probably going to laugh at this one, is humor and playfulness.
Of course.
I mean, because, you know, I'm crabby, I know that, you know, crabby by name, crabby by nature. I was watching back through a couple of the previous live ahas we did, you know, doing some editing, and I realised there's a lot of laughter throughout it. You know, laughter at the things we say to ourselves, so that's not necessarily good. But I think I've learned to just be playful and light-hearted as much as possible. And it just helps not to take anything too seriously.
That is the best way to get the message across. You know, it's like if you've got a student that is a challenge, the best thing to do is just play with them.
Well, in so many contexts, it's like turning up here, okay? I'd like want us to be playful. I don't know what questions we're going to ask. Let's find out. So there's that element of curiosity, but it's that playful curiosity. So you kind of don't get hung up on expectations or the end results and the outcomes. Because if you end up enjoying it, having fun, you tend to show up and do a better job, whatever you're doing, whether you're sitting down with a client. The amount of times when I used to have my clinic in Wimbledon, and Sarah used to be sitting outside, she could never hear what was going on inside the little room that I had. But she would always say, they were laughing within 5 minutes. They'd come in really depressed, manic depressive, maybe even borderline suicidal. Sometimes we didn't know what was going on, but within a few minutes, you could hear laughter.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about trying to be a comedian, because I'm not. It was about getting it so that people saw the funny side of what they were doing. And I think I've learned to do that. To me, that's one of the qualities that, helps to make sure the way everyone else around us is going, oh God, life sucks.
Yeah. And then you die.
Yeah, we could approach it that way, or we could just lighten up and have fun. Yeah, and I know which I want to be able to look back and go, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, I want to laugh lots because I like the chemicals we make when we laugh. I even like the chemicals when you're curious. They're way different to the chemicals when people are really angry. And I mean, even when I'm displaying anger, I'm not really angry on the inside. So there's no...
Oh, I do. I mean, occasionally I still go pop, yeah. There's still a moment, especially since I had a mild stroke back in December 2019, like the neurology opened up. So like the full range of emotions expanded. It's a bit like a DHE exercise with a mixing deck and go, okay, humour. What was a 10 is now a 4. Turn it up to a new 10. That's great. Anger. What was a 10 turned down to a 4. And you go, oh, that's not so great. Okay. So I found sometimes that I was reacting and it would be instantaneous, but now I can go instantaneous, drop it back down very, very quickly and laugh at those moments because I don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's one of the beautiful things about NLP, because it's the full range and the whole flexibility to be able to experience everything. So yeah, that's my answer to that. So great question, Marco. Creativity, Leonardo da Vinci. Humor for Steve Crabb.
Yeah. So I love, now we've got some questions here. All of them asked by the same person. And I'm not going to mention his name because he said he wasn't sure whether he should be asking them. I'm not quite sure why, because we got this in an email. So I have a question. The main claim is NLP doesn't work. I'm curious to learn your thoughts and responses. I'm slowly coming forward in public as a trainer, and I'm starting to notice this is going to pop up often. Wish to take
hold on. I'm starting to notice this is going to pop
up often. Yes, he's
right. Okay, yeah. So he's already noticing now it's already going to happen in the future.
Yeah, he's planning for it. Yeah, and obviously he wants answers because he knows it's going to happen.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just get my crystal ball. It's not a crystal ball, it's a paperweight, but let's look off into the future. Yeah.
You got a crystal. Do I have a crystal ball here? Oh no, my crystal ball is in the house. Oh, damn. Right. So, wish to take these questions as ethically and professionally as I can.
Oh dear, that's me out.
Yeah, sorry, Crabby. In training and in casual settings. So, 1, how would you respond to NLP works on people's beliefs? If they don't believe in it, NLP won't work. I can easily think of a handful of NLP techniques that don't require the client's beliefs for it to work, as seen over and over again in practitioner classes. People often do the technique, skeptical at first, then it works and they form powerful beliefs. Love it when this happens. Mm-hmm. So the first one is, how do we respond to NLP works on people's beliefs? If they don't believe in it, NLP won't work. Well, I think you should take this, especially seeing as we have that lovely person in our class, in our practitioner at the moment, and you were explaining to them at the last weekend that they don't need to believe.
Yeah, okay, but I want to back up a little bit.
Okay.
Before answering. It's a great question. In fact, it's not just a question, there's a whole bundle of questions in there.
There is, yeah, and there's more, yeah.
Oh, is there more? Okay, all right, yeah. Good. And that's important. I think,
yeah.
It's interesting. Before we came on, I had I don't really go on Facebook much. I don't use social media that much. But I flicked through, and there was a post from somebody who is a friend, but he's not a great friend. I haven't seen him for about 5 years. So he's not a great friend. And he was making a comment about Tony Robbins, and it was quite humorous about how he did a Tony Robbins seminar, and it didn't really help him. But he read a book by Jimmy Carr, the comedian, and this one comment helped him more. So he's kind of making a complex equivalence. There's a lot of belief going there that I got more value from this than I did from doing that event. Okay. And there was a mixture of people jumping into the conversation. And then there was somebody that jumped in and mentioned our friend Paul McKenna and did a rant about Paul. And I thought, I know this guy. Clicked on it, and this guy's a hypnotist. Okay. And I just thought about it. I thought, my God, it could be so easy to get caught up in a conversation about arguing about whose best friend is right, whose best friend is wrong.
Yeah.
Whether the earth is flat or the earth is round, whether climate change is real or not, or, Mars work. And I just thought about it. Life is too short sometimes to get caught up into those conversations. Yeah. Including the conversations sometimes, which I think can be a bit spurious and don't necessarily exist, apart from in some places out on the internet where people have put a lot of effort to make their opinions known. The person, and I'll come back to what John Laval said. When he said it, I went, I get this. He said, the person with the need gets to do the work.
The work. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to really think about that. I thought the person with the need gets to do the work. So if I have got the need for somebody to believe me, I've got to do the work and be willing to do the work to get them to believe. Yeah. I thought, well, if I don't have a need, well, I don't have to do any work. Because I'm and the phrase I use is I'm compassionately indifferent quite often to having to change somebody's point of view. Yeah. So I'm going to start off by answering that question this way, that in that situation, it could have been so easy for me to have got suckered into this conversation.
Yeah.
Going, well, you don't know Paul. He's a very good friend of mine. We're doing a training and gone down a rabbit hole where there is no way I'm going to change anybody's opinion. Yeah. It's never going to be a win-win. It's a waste of oxygen. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. So I just choose to delete it and move on, and let go. So I think there's many situations like that. And in fact, I saw a website. I was doing some research to do with our new website, looking up some long tail keywords. And I found a website, which is a therapy website. And it appears, if you do NLP, just do a Google search of NLP, this appears quite high up. And I wonder whether this person's actually seen this article. Okay, so I think it's Good Therapy, something like that. It might be Good Therapy. And they got this big article. It's a long article. It's about 4,000 words explaining why NLP doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. And I read through it and I went, I don't believe this person's ever experienced NLP, but they definitely have a big opinion about it. And they've done a lot of work to get it highly ranked. Yeah. So it is going to appear quite a lot. Do I want to get involved in an argument with them to try and get an opinion? No, I have no need to. No. Yeah. So that would be my first thing. If you have the need to get into this conversation, then you've got to be willing to do the work, and to do more work than the other person is probably willing to do, to hold fixed to their opinion that NLP doesn't work. Or what was the actual phrase that was used? Because I didn't write it down. So.
NLP works on people's beliefs. If they don't believe in it, NLP won't work.
Yeah, so someone's expressing a belief. Now, people will defend their beliefs rigidly, won't they?
They will, yeah,
if they've been given the chance to express them. So if I know that somebody's going to express a belief, it's so much easier to inoculate against the belief before it's expressed than it is to have the conversation with someone and look to change their belief after they've expressed it. Yeah. So if this person is talking from, let's say, a marketing and selling perspective, and they're putting their website together and they're putting their marketing material out, and they're concerned that people are going to have these beliefs, inoculate against them from the very, very beginning. Yeah. And coming back to your point about having someone in the class who wasn't really listening to learn, they were there to almost express how things were. Yeah. We did a lot of pre-frame work.
We did.
Because we do have a need for the people in our class to listen, to learn, so they get the best experience. Yeah. So to me, the pre-frame is it's the same as an inoculation. It's I'm willing to do the work to set the right conditions. So if someone has a limiting belief, I'm more likely to be able to change it. Yeah. So yeah, first of all, you've got to be willing to do the work, haven't you? Yeah.
And the other thing that comes in my mind is, it's not my job to make somebody believe something different.
Unless it is. Unless you've taken it on as a job. Like if I've taken a client on.
I mean, if there's a client who comes to see me and they have a limiting belief and we discuss the belief and they want a new belief, then it's my job. Yeah. But it's not my job to just jump in and try and change somebody's belief without their permission.
Yeah, so this is very context specific. If we've been given permission and we have a need to get someone to get their beliefs out the way, then do the pre-frame work. And that's what we do in the training. We say to people, don't believe in this. We don't care what you believe, but for you to get the best experience from this, don't believe, just have an experience. And then when you've had a good experience or had a new insight, then you can start to believe. So we get the limiting beliefs out of the way from the very beginning. Does that mean everyone follows and complies? No. Most of the group did, but one person chose not to. And then it became a different conversation, didn't it?
It did, yeah, it did.
And then I think then you go somewhere else with this. So whoever asked the question, you've got the meta model. Yeah. Why do you believe that you need beliefs? Yeah. You pull apart. Ooh, look.
She wants me to open the door.
That was really
she
weird.
Wants to go in the garden. And I've been ignoring her.
That was the dog interrupt. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to let her out. I'll be back.
Okay, so I'll keep talking. So
you keep talking.
We got the meta model. So find out why, find out what's going on so you can understand why they're turning up with those beliefs. And you've got all the sleight of mouth patterns. There will be the consequences, there'll be the intention behind the belief. There's so many different ways that you've got more flexibility. We've got a lot of flexibility to help someone to get any limiting beliefs out of the way. You just got to be more resilient and more flexible than they are in terms of having their beliefs that could get in the way of experiencing NLP.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of people out there that come up with all sorts of things about NLP. And I'm going to go on to the next one, because the next part of this is NLP is a pseudoscience and it doesn't work. How would you advise us to respond to the claim that NLP is pseudoscience and doesn't work? Now, I'm going to do a mind read here, because the pre-frame here is slowly coming forward in public as a trainer. And I'm wondering if this is connected to them trying to put people on courses and trying to...
I would make the same mind read as well.
Yeah.
They said earlier on about being a trainer.
And
they're expecting these objections to come up. Well, okay, think of it this way. In doing sales training, most salespeople give up after they've had 2, maybe 3 objections, okay? And that's based upon me having done no research whatsoever, just a lot of experience working with salespeople and doing a lot of sales training, yeah? So what I'd like to do is get the clients to come up with as many objections as they possibly can from all their experience, and get really creative and come up with other objections. And then using the sleight of mouth patterns, because it gives them a nice, easy framework to follow, come up with as many inoculations to the objections as they possibly can. So if there are 20 objections, they've got 50 ways of inoculating. And to practice them and practice them and practice them, so that when someone says, well, it's a pseudoscience, you've got the answers. Yeah. So if someone's saying that to you, you've got a response to that. But better still, if it's for your marketing, you put that out in advance. You go, some people claim that NLP is a pseudoscience. In reality, it is blah, 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 and work it out. Yeah. So I'm not going to give you answers. We could do, yeah. But it's better that you do the work and come up with the inoculations yourself so that you take ownership of them and you get comfortable saying them ahead of time. It's a scam. Oh, is it a scam? How would you know it's a scam?
Yeah.
We could better model that and go, well, how did you come to that conclusion? And by the way, a lot of times it's just because people have got an opinion. They've got no evidence. They might have just heard something. So I'm rattling on, Tina. I've had a cup of coffee, so I'm going to shut up.
Well, I mean, it also needs to be contextual, because if we are, and I have been assuming that this is him selling the courses to prospective students, it needs to be in what context and where have these people come from? You know, do they want personal change? Do they want to be coaches? Are they in business? Because my response would be different depending as to the context. As to pseudoscience, there's various things. I printed this off earlier. So it's actually, this is the Durham project that was done in 2006. And it's something that Kate Benson did at Durham University. And it's a report on the effect of using NLP with children in a classroom. And from this report, she actually went in and she was training teachers in NLP, and then she wrote her book with Richard Bandler. So there are various things out there. So the Durham project is one thing that you could review and download, which will give you some information. Now, the British Psychological Society and the UK Council for Psychotherapy have added NLP techniques to hypnotherapy, CBT, and, oh God, what is it? It's rational emotive behavior therapy. And they've recognized the fact that NLP is incredibly effective in helping people with psychological problems.
So, I think one of the challenges that people face when they are presented with these assertions about NLP not being effective, or even being a scam, or doesn't work, I always question some of the research that's done, because I've looked at some of the research papers, and we know from our experiences that you could have a whole range of people that have done practitioner, master practitioner, trainer's trainer, and they've gone on DHE and done NHR, they've done a lot, but there's a difference in the effectiveness of the operator.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, because they come and they do the courses and they get their piece of paper and they think, okay, I'm a practitioner or a master practitioner or whatever. They don't go out and practice. They immediately start advertising for clients. And I know you've had them turn up at your office. They've turned up at my office. Sometimes they've actually contacted Kathleen Laval or Paul McKenna's office when he had an office and said, I've seen this NLP practitioner and it was rubbish and this didn't work and that didn't work. And then you and I have been sent these people, and you go in and we do the job and they get the change they seek. So I think it is down to operator.
Yeah, so for me, it's not NLP, it's the efficiency and the effectiveness of the operator that can make the difference. It'd be interesting to conduct some of those studies and have people look at the work that we do with people, that you do with people. I'm sure many of the people working here do with people, and then measure that. So I think it's a great question. It is a common question. I mean, I've actually never had it asked. I've never had the scam question, it doesn't work, asked of me in a corporate setting. I've had it with some people on the course once I've been into the course. But that's why, and in fact, somebody asked us a similar question on the practitioner last weekend, about working with a group and getting a group on side. You've got to, if you're in, you're already in. Okay, but it still doesn't mean you get away without doing the pre-frame with a group.
No, and the other thing as well, and I know that Richard talks about this, John and Kathleen talk about it on all the trainings, especially trainers training. When you're going to actually stand in front of a group of people and teach these skills, you better be able to demonstrate them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, you've got to be able to have whoever happens to come up and sit down in front of you, you've got to be able to make it work.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point from, if you're a trainer, nothing beats rolling your sleeves up and doing a lot of one-to-one work.
Yeah.
Because then a convincing demonstration, well, the demonstration has to be a convincer. Yeah, which means you've got to be resilient. You've got to make sure that you know what you're doing. Sometimes it's about being who you select as your volunteer. Yeah, it comes down to that. And that takes a bit of practice as well, because you get it wrong a couple of times, you soon learn. Yeah. And if you get it wrong, you still work and you do the work, and then you explain the work that you've done. And then you end up with a group of people that are on board. Yeah. I might have shared this story. I think I shared the story in one of the recent lessons that we did. I was training in New York with 350 CBTers. Yeah. And it was it was actually on Saturday, wasn't it? I think I shared this story. Yeah. And we had our practitioners.
Yes.
And so this was a potentially, you think that because they were there to listen, to learn. But no, think about it. They've invested their time, their money, their identities tied up with CBT. And there's 350 of them on a Monday in New York. Yeah. Potentially hostile audience. So there was a good 20 minutes spent talking about how I dealt with some people that were stuck in the lift on the Sunday before, who were terrified, and how I used NLP to get them relaxed. And a couple of them were in the audience and said how it helped. And I needed to spend a lot of time with pre-frame, getting people to listen, to learn, and then do a couple of quick demos that were almost like miracle demos to get everybody really interested and on board. Yeah. So as a trainer, that's one of the things I do, is really spend time with the pre-frame to get as many people on board as I can, and then get in a couple of quick demos and a few quick experiences for them as soon as possible, so they're convinced this is interesting. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Just be interested. Don't believe.
Wow,
just play along. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
There's plenty of stuff within NLP that you can demonstrate if you're doing intros and things that will have the people in the audience going, whoa.
There's one last thing I want to just add to that. And so I was at a dinner about 6 weeks ago now, sitting next to somebody, and we were talking about business, and he said to me, how do you deal with skeptical people? And I went, I don't. He said, well, how? I said, well, why would I waste my time dealing with skeptical people? Yeah. There are enough people that got open minds. So I think that's something else to bear in mind, that if someone's really skeptical, thinks it's a scam, hasn't done the research, has an opinion but no evidence to support it, blah, 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 they're probably not your clients.
No, and you won't want them in a classroom anyway. If you are looking for students, you definitely wouldn't want to talk somebody like that into coming on your course, because you are going to have to work so hard with that person in the room. Yeah,
don't be needy. Don't be needy from the clients. If you have to let one corporate go, guess what? There's another 10 lining up.
Yeah, I mean, I would much rather talk to people and explain that maybe this isn't the course for them. And actually, if I've done that, I've actually had them, then it's kind of like the whole reverse psychology kicks in. Well, why isn't it a course for me? And why can't I do it?
Well, because we want people in the room that have got open minds, willing to listen, to learn, looking to improve their lives. Well, that's me. Yeah. Oh, can you come? No.
I want that.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting start. Yeah, I like that one.
So, okay, now we're moving on to identity. This week, I've been reflecting on Tina's phrase, when a client appears to have got the change by the end of the session, and yet something's still there. Tina noticed, lurking in the background. Tina noted that belief is key, and I've noticed there are anomalies going on, e.g., I'm anxious about driving, riding my horse, swimming, etc., but I'm not really an anxious person. My question is, how do you clarify what a client's real belief when their language suggests they have a mixed self-image?
Oh, okay.
And as I write this, I can hear Steve's voice.
Can you? Well, I wish I could. What's the question? Again, repeat the question to me, please.
I can hear Steve's voice saying, talk to the unconscious.
Oh, that's a good answer. Yeah, well done, Steve.
But should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a bit of another Gordian knot question, wasn't it? There's a lot in there, and I kind of need it a bit unravelled. So what was the real question with that?
The real question is, how do you clarify what the client's real belief is when their language suggests that they have a mixed self-image?
Oh, yeah. Well, don't believe them.
No. What do they know? Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, I would use that thing. What is it called? The meta model? And I'd question, and I'd dig around, get a few more answers from them. And then I'd probably stick them in a trance and set up some finger signals and get the real answers.
But it's good that you're picking up on incongruency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it would be easy just to be suckered by the conscious beliefs and expressions of the clients, be hypnotized by the clients.
Well, the clients will tell you what they think you want to hear.
And what they think they believe to be true as well.
Yeah.
Isn't the truth necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah, they've talked themselves into things. And the thing here about where she says, I'm anxious doing an activity, but I'm not really an anxious person. Well, what is an anxious person? Is what I'm thinking. There are people.
Organization there, yeah.
Yeah, there are people that are perfectly confident in 90% of their lives, but there's just one part they can't do. They can't do public speaking, or they can't do something else.
I never believe people when they say they don't do anxiety anyway. Well, they never say I don't do anxiety. They say I'm not an anxious person.
I don't do anxiety.
They go, are you stressed now? Well, not really. What do you mean not really? Oh, it's 0 to 10. I'm at 5. A 5's not really. Seriously? Okay. So your normal relaxed is a 5 out of 10.
Wow.
So you're only really anxious when you're an 8 or a 9. Okay, well, let's work on the 5 so that the 8 becomes the 5, and then never believe what they say. I remember Richard saying, don't let your clients hypnotize you. And I thought, there's only one really good hypnotist in the room at the time, isn't there?
There is. Sometimes it's 2, like on Saturday.
On Saturday, yeah. I'm talking about when we're doing one-to-ones, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, they're always really good hypnotists. They're just not really good at giving positive suggestions, generally, are they?
No, they've hypnotized themselves in a negative way to believe all sorts of rubbish.
Yeah, and Steve Crabb's advice to you, I think, was great advice. I wish I'd even said it. Yeah. Just talk. So close the mind, like close the eyes, like Tina said. Have the finger signals. Yeah. Have a proper deep conversation.
Let's get to the.
So let me get this right. So I'm answering the questions before they're even asked. How cool!
I know. I mean, how brilliant is that?
I can go.
Well, this is one for you. This is about your. So I really enjoyed hearing your wise words this month.
Just this month, not previously. Okay, fair enough.
Not before. And to me, delegating my marketing makes sense. Having investigated the possibilities of delegating, the choice is huge.
Yes, indeed.
I'm mindful that clients want to get to know us, the provider. So my question is threefold. Are you ready?
Okay. All right. No, we're not going to write this down, Carl.
First, how important is it to be doing Facebook or the equivalent live, and how much is enough?
Well, I think, okay, I'll answer it in a different way, which is not surprising. You won't know the answer to that until you've run the experiment. Yeah. I mean, okay, so we're doing Facebook Live here. I don't know how many people are on, maybe half a dozen, whatever, a dozen, maybe more, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But we know tons and tons of other people see it later, and it's in a replay room with all the members. How important is that? People let us know. Yeah, it keeps them engaged. Yeah. If we did it every week, would that be too much? Well, we'd find out from the feedback. If we did it once every 3 months, is that not enough? Well, we'll find out from the feedback. So for me, marketing is all about experimentation. There is no one way to market. There's no one silver bullet solution. If there was, everyone would be doing it. If everyone was doing it, it probably wouldn't be working. Yeah. So it is all about experimentation. It's Alan Turing, from the Enigma, Bletchley, when someone said to him, "How long will it take your computer to resolve a problem?" And he went away for a couple of years and came back and said, "We don't know. The only way we'll know is when it's run the program and resolved the problem. Then we know how long it takes." So you have to run the experiment to get the result. So in answer to the question, how long and how often, you have to test and then measure and decide what you're going to measure. So this could be measuring engagement. It could be measuring the number of people that show up. It could be measuring the number of people that show up and then do something else. Yeah, it's all experimentation. And that's why great if you've decided you're going to pass your marketing to somebody else. There are so many places you could go that do marketing and will do marketing for you. Just be willing and ready and able to invest in that experimentation stage. I would be wary of anybody that takes on marketing that guarantees a particular type of result. Yeah. Because they've not run the experiment for you, for your particular clients. They may have done something similar. Yeah. So I'd just be very wary of anyone that's offering specifics. They're going to get so many returns, so much return on your ad spend, etc. You'll find out. Be ready for that. Yeah, you'll find out in time. You need to just put some money out there and see what happens.
The next part of that is, what does a great marketing campaign look like? And what's your advice for planning ahead and keeping it manageable?
So what does it look like and keep ahead and manageable?
Yeah.
If you're starting off afresh, don't get overcomplicated. Everyone wants to, they want to have a viral video on Facebook. They want to have something go viral on Instagram, and then they put it on TikTok and they're doing it. Find something you feel really comfortable with. Keep engaging with people in that platform that you're really comfortable with, and just be consistent. Get used to doing that first, and then start to transfer across to other platforms and see what works and measure it. And again, we come back to experimentation. You're going to know what works until you put stuff out there. And if you're not enjoying it and it's not something you feel committed to doing, or it becomes a bit of a chore, people tend to drop out of doing it. And you've got to be consistent. I was talking about this in the training I did, that it's almost like chaining states. That if we leave too big a gap between the states, the chain isn't there anymore. So we need to have enough awareness, enough communication, enough gap between, so we don't overwhelm people. We don't want to underwhelm them. And the phrase I use is want to whelm them. Okay. We're in the business of whelming people, giving them just enough to keep them interested and giving them something which is of value, without overloading them to the point of go, I can't keep up with this. We could have a compulsion blowout, really, couldn't we, with marketing, if you think about it?
Oh, God, yeah, you could. Yeah, easy.
I've had that with people that sent me really valuable stuff, but it's just too much. And then I zone out and don't even pay any attention to it. Yeah. And then a few that leave the gaps too long, and I'm not connecting the dots. You really just have to get curious and experiment. Yeah. And looking ahead. Well, actually, I just downloaded, I was telling Tina just before this, actually, so this is relevant. On AppSumo, I'm not recommending this, by the way, because I haven't used it. With some of the other companies I'm working with, we've got campaigns going out in a variety of different platforms. So instead of checking in There's some software now which enables you to pull in all of the data to one place. You've got one dashboard. So if you are really into it, look around for something like that. That means you can collate and you're just looking at one place. Yeah. And again, I'm not recommending this, but if you're going to have a look at AppSumo, it's Black Friday. There's some deals there. So I'm not doing any pitch for anyone because I haven't played with it yet. But that simplifies it. But just keep it manageable by doing something you love and get used to doing it.
So next, this fascinates me, this one. This week I've had an inquiry from someone who wants to feel comfortable again when riding her horse. She's been riding for most of her life and has spoken to her GP, who believes the menopause symptoms are at play. The menopause is stopping her riding her horse? Okay, what are your thoughts on this, and how do you support your clients with suggestions from professionals that may not be helpful?
I can answer that bit. I can answer that one.
Horse riding is potentially dangerous, and I recall Dr. Banter noting how important it is to maintain caution. Wow.
Caution when riding a horse?
Wow. How do you ensure that the client gets the positive change they want and exercises enough caution? So speaking as an equestrian, I used to do 3-day eventing. I've ridden horses most of my life. And I can't believe a GP is saying that the men, I'm running through in my mind right now the symptoms that you get when you go through the menopause, and there's nothing there about being anxious whilst riding. Honest. I'm looking, it's just not there.
It's not a side effect.
It's not a side effect. No, it's just not there. In fact, there's nothing about horses in any medical.
I love it.
There's nothing, it's just not there. So speaking as an equestrian, my first thought is, what a load of bollocks. That's my professional opinion.
Professional term, is it? Yeah.
That's my professional opinion. So how do I support my clients with suggestion? So if I was talking to her, we would be talking equestrian to equestrian. And I would probably say something on the lines of, oh God, can you remember when we first started riding? Because they do this bizarre thing where you had to fall off 10 times before you were a real horse person. And I can remember counting how many times I fell off. And I can remember being so excited when I fell off the 10th time, because now I'm a real horse person. And it's kind of like they trick you into expecting to fall off. Because anybody that rides horses, you know that at some point you're going to fall off. And you're okay with it. And I talk about that, and I talk about times when she's fallen off in the past, because trust me, she will have fallen off in the past, and how she just got up and got on the horse, So she has a strategy that's been inbuilt right from the very beginning that enables her to just get back on that horse. And that's what she'll do. So I would access that strategy, and then I would say, I might even Google horse riding and menopause and see what came up, because I haven't Googled it, but in my head I'm thinking it's just not there. And I would laugh and say, what does your doctor know about horses?
Have you ever known a doctor to be wrong? Let's put this one in this category, shall we?
Yeah. Have you ever known a doctor to be wrong? I've gone through the menopause. I didn't have any problem with horses or riding. So, and then I don't recall hearing Richard talk about maintaining caution. Although now I do when it comes to snakes. When you take away snake phobias, I remember him saying not all snakes are good snakes to touch, and spiders. So yes, I do remember the caution now. It's just popped back in my head. I don't see horse riding as dangerous. I know that you may think that's a bit strange, because I actually fell off and broke my neck when I was 29. Obviously not badly. But I don't perceive it as being dangerous. It's exhilarating, it's exciting, it's fun, it's amazing. But danger doesn't really come into it, because if you ride the way you're taught to ride, it's not dangerous. It's no more dangerous than driving a car or riding a bicycle.
Now, the only bit I can add to this is that in inoculation against professionals' godlike opinions, their edicts, where we challenge it, we go, and it's always good to challenge it in a light-hearted way, Does this seem right? Have you ever known a doctor to be wrong? I've not Googled this, but it seems a very tenuous connection.
Yeah.
Although I do remember the last time I rode a horse was 1983, and it was in New Zealand.
Did you fall off?
No, I didn't fall off, but I do remember the instructor said, whatever you do, don't let the horse bolt, because ours are too old. That's a really young one, and it's 300 miles to the next house. So, nothing will stop him. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm holding on.
Yeah. I jumped off once. I had some relatives over from the States, and I think it's still there. There's a riding school by Hyde Park, and it's called Lilo Blum's. And I took my American cousins, to the stables because they wanted to go riding along Rotten Row in Hyde Park. And I learned very, very early on after this, never say I can ride. So they said, is there anybody here that's a really experienced rider? And I went, that'll be me. I do this and I do that, and I've got my horse. And they brought out this manky looking creature. Honestly, it really was a creature. And I thought, I was expecting this amazing thoroughbred, and I got this manky looking creature. And as we're riding through the traffic to get to Hyde Park, suddenly it went up on its back legs. And the woman said, oh yeah, it doesn't like dogs. Every time it saw a dog, it went like this. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And then we got to Hyde Park and it bolted, and I couldn't stop it. And it was heading towards Hyde Park Corner. The gates were open. I could see buses and taxis. And then I saw the headlines, woman dies under bus at Hyde Park Corner. So I got off. And the minute I jumped off the bloody thing, it stopped. And it just looked at me.
And that, folks, is how to install a phobia of horses.
It wasn't phobic.
Indeed, yes, okay.
It wasn't phobic. It wasn't. You see, this is what I mean. As an equestrian, I just got up, looked at the horse, grabbed it, and got back up. It wasn't scary. Equestrians, if she's a real horse person, she'll be used to that. And she'll have a strategy for dealing with it. Oh, I think that I'm going to pass this one over to you. I'll read it out, mainly because I can never remember who is dealing with what aspect of the basic presuppositions. So this is a question about the basic presuppositions of NLP.
Okay.
You know, like Chomsky and yeah. And I know that you just got it there, and I always get them confused. So Tina referred to the main presuppositions of NLP. Mm-hmm. Having researched these on many occasions, I've read many interpretations in the structure of magic. Dr. Richard Bandler talks about the map, ... Can you recommend a reliable resource to read about all of the presuppositions from Dr. Bandler and or other co-creators? I've noticed on Amazon there is an NLP encyclopedia.
Yeah.
I wonder if this might be the text I'm looking for. It's not in there, I looked.
NLP presuppositions aren't in.
Well, no, the basic presuppositions are in here, but it doesn't say who is responsible for which elements.
Oh, I see. Right, okay, yeah.
It lists who they were, but it doesn't say which part of it.
Where they originated from.
Where they originated from.
Actually, I don't know about that. Actually, the only one I know about is the Maps of the Territory, which is Korzybski. The rest, I don't know the attribution to, where they came from. I've never really considered that, not looked into that. And I don't know, that would be the only place that I can think of that I've encountered them. Actually, there might be another one, but I'm not sure I want to mention the person.
Okay.
The encyclopedia is a good place to look for any content. And I know Tina's got a copy, a hard copy now. I've got a hard copy somewhere. But you can actually go online, and Robert Dilts has put that online, and you can access, I think it's 20 pages a day. But I can't answer that question. I don't know where they all originate from. It's not something I've looked into. I do believe they are very, very valuable, almost essential filters through which to look at when it comes to being an operator, user of NLP, and communicator. And I don't always think they're given as much time in trainings as they warrant, because if you take some of them away and don't adhere to them, it can really affect how you process and how you operate with someone. So for example, if you take the map is not the territory and say, I'm not going to operate to that, that's not going to be in my remit, that will have a profound effect on how you show up and how you engage with people. In fact, if you take any of them away, it leaves almost like a blind spot. So I think we talk about the basic NLP presuppositions. That's worthy of a lot of investigation. And
they are all in here. There's a lot in here about presuppositions, as you would imagine, because there's a lot in here about everything. This is N to Z. There's two of these. I love books, so when I discovered this many years ago, I had to purchase one. And there's loads of elements in here that are very, very useful. When was it published? Oh, it's published in 2000.
Yeah, we spend quite a bit of time on the practitioner going through the NLP presuppositions so that people get a clear understanding of how useful they are for whatever the presuppositions support, which comes afterwards. But apart from map is not the territory, no idea who they're attributed to. It will be Bertrand Russell, Gregory Bateson, Noam Chomsky, George Polya. There'll be a list. There'll be a list of those people. Yeah.
So what? Well, we got 2 minutes to go. We've got one question left.
Have we? Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. This is from Jane. Hi, Jane. I know you're there watching. I think she's stalking us. So I remember Richard saying something like, be careful of suggestions, brackets hypnotic ones, even from me. Any useful suggestions that we mightn't be aware of already? Thank you both.
Because I answered that already in the chat. I went, yes.
I agree. Yes. My answer is yes too. Yeah. I'm glad you're around. I'm glad you're around too, Jane. Thank you.
So what was it Richard said? Be careful of suggestions.
Yeah. He does it quite often when he's working with people on stage and he's doing a demo. I've noticed quite often if people have had negative suggestions installed, he'll say, be careful of suggestions, even from me. Because I guess we never really know what's going on in somebody's unconscious, what their deep structure holds. Was the impression that I got when he said it.
I've heard him say that on a number of occasions, and I've always taken it to be, about taking ownership for our own experience. Yeah. Because it would be so easy. We know how easy it is to be on stage, presenting, say something, And 98% of the people take it one way, and there was maybe one or two people that will hear something completely different to what was meant. And the meaning of the communication is the response.
Yeah.
However, and I qualified this the other Saturday, I said, apart from those times when people are determined to take the communication the wrong way, in which case that's their responsibility.
Because they filter it. They do weird shit with it in their head. And no matter how careful you can be when you're giving a suggestion to somebody, sometimes they will do something strange with it. And I think as the operator, if you're working with a client, then you have to, I think it's useful, I have to be aware of the effect that my suggestions are having. And if I perceive that they're not going in the right way, then I can then do something about that and flip that round. In your day-to-day life, I think it's very easy for people to try and give you negative suggestions without even realizing they're doing it.
Well, we've kind of gone full circle for back to where we started with about the mass hypnosis that seems to be going on out there at the moment, and how easy it is to be influenced by regular communication, visual, auditory, and just even other people's states. Beware of negative suggestions, including Richard's, including mine, probably including Tina.
And mine, and mine.
I did probably there because so good at it. And more importantly, of your own. It's one of the things I learned as an NLPer. We said earlier on, there were two great hypnotists in the room when we're working with someone. When I'm on the room with my own, there's one amazing hypnotist. I just got to make sure I'm giving myself good, positive suggestions.
Yeah, be aware of the effects that the suggestions, the thoughts you have give you. What are you eliciting from your thoughts, from your subconscious, with the way that you're thinking? And when I have a negative suggestion shield. So I have a filter that negative suggestions go through. And I actually laugh when I hear them. I just I think, well, you're not getting me.
Yeah, mine's a lot easier. It just in one ear, it just rattles around and out the other.
Goes out the other way. I just like they amuse me.
Yeah, I did a training. It was a really weird place. It was a private club for LinkedIn members, and there was a big bar that was a spaceship in the middle, and I did a presentation. And that's about an hour and a half later, and there was somebody that came up, and they must have done some of the speed seduction.
Oh, dear
stuff,
old Ross Jeffries.
Ross Jeffries stuff, And I was talking to a guy, and this woman came up, and she was demonstrating her speed seduction, and it was my whole body could feel the attempts to use language to make suggestions. It was almost cringeable, but this guy wasn't aware of it. It was quite clumsy, but he didn't have the awareness of her clumsiness. So Jane, Richard puts the disclaimer out. It's a disclaimer to basically say, take responsibility for your own suggestions. And be aware of others.
Yes, be aware, and then just let them go.
So we're pretty much done for this evening. That was gone super quick.
It always does. Yeah.
We're not doing an AHA next month, are we? Because it's the week before Christmas.
It is.
But we are doing something else.
Yes. So on the 16th of December, we've got Elizabeth Payer Butler, and she is one of the very few master trainers of NLP with DHE. She might even be the only one. Elizabeth has been running her courses in Toronto for decades and decades and decades. And she, years ago, when she was working with adults, she found that a lot of the adults she worked with attributed their problems to things that happened to them as a child. And that got her little grey cells thinking, well, what if we start teaching children so that they don't have these problems as adults? And she created a kids club. So every summer, it would have to be summer because it's Canada and they're about 4 foot deep in snow the rest of the year, I think. Every summer she would have kids clubs and kids would come and stay in her kids clubs and they do these incredible things playing. And while she was playing with the kids, she'd be teaching them.
Fabulous. So she's going to be joining us the 3rd Thursday of December. So we'll put a posting out there on Facebook so you can get your tickets ahead of time. Yeah. And we've got somebody lined up for January, February.
January, we've got an extra, because normally we have masterclasses every 3 months.
Yeah.
I think January, as a New Year's present, we've got Owen Fitzpatrick. The lovely Owen is going to come and do some training with you about the stories you tell yourself.
Fabulous. Yeah. Plenty of good stuff lined up.
Yeah.
And we'll be opening up the door to the Prosperity Mission as well in the new year for those of you that haven't done it, but we'll tell you more about that in some posts.
Soon.
Fabulous. Okay.
So, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next year. Well, that's a bit scary.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you on Saturday.
Practitioner, yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Take care, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Bye, guys.
Much love. Be well.
Bye.